students at APU. I just want to let you know this is my first time doing a Zoom presentation like this, so there might be a few glitches, but we're going to try it, and then hopefully we can do it the next few times as well for the classes. I've been a librarian at AP for 10 years. It'll be 10 years in April. And my background is actually not nursing. It is in teaching English to speakers of other languages. I have a master's degree and then a master's degree in library science. When I started at APU, they needed somebody to fill the role as the nursing librarian. And at that time, I filled the role in graduate, undergraduate, and doctoral. But now that I've expanded, my nursing has grown quite a bit, but then I've also go to so many classes, they've asked me to just do the graduate. And I've done that for probably for about 5 years or 6 years. So today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to show you some of the resources we have available in the library, and then also how to search in the databases. I'm going to show you how you can access books from where you're at. I know that many of you may not be here in Azusa or even in California, but you have access to books wherever you're at. So feel free to use those resources, because we do want you to use what we have available in the library. The other, not just physical materials, but we also have a lot of ebooks that are available. And the reason why I purchase ebooks is so that any student, you don't have to be here in Azusa to be able to access it. Okay? So first off, question? Okay.
Denise, I was thinking we could have Sharon do a quick prayer for us, and then you can just let us know the objectives. And I will ask students to mute their microphone, which if you go to have your Zoom window maximized and you go to the bottom left-hand corner, there's a little microphone there. And if you can click on that, so there's an X, that means you're muted. If you have any questions during this information session, why don't you just go type them in the chat button down at the bottom, and I will be monitoring those, and we can ask Denise those. Do you want questions all at once or all at the end, Denise?
You can put them on the chat, and I'll answer as we go along.
Okay, great.
Some things I may answer within my presentation. So I'll just say, I'll answer that. But you can post them and I'll answer as we go along.
Okay. All right, Sharon. Thank you for praying.
So I'm Dr. Sharon Titus, and I first of all want to congratulate all of you students who have joined on today. Without question, every time I grade a paper, especially a big project, I can always tell whether a student has utilized a librarian or not. So kudos to each one of you for doing that. Secondly, I'm a firm believer, when I went through my master's comps and my doctoral dissertation, that your best friend during that time ought to be a librarian, because there's the ones that truly make a difference on whether or not you pass your papers or not. So Denise is about as good as they get. I have just never met anyone more fabulous. And so you will find her inviting, and you will find her very helpful to you in your individualized projects. So thank you for joining us. Let's pray. Lord Jesus, thank you so much for Denise and the expertise that she brings to our master's program and our doctoral programs. We thank you for her commitment to APU. We pray a prayer for her, Lord Jesus, as she serves our students, and particularly our nursing students at APU. Continue to give her an abundance amount of patience and grace as she has frantic students wondering where to go next with their research. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for this time that we're able to connect all together from all over, really, the country. We're so thankful for APU and their commitment to serving our students, and us in turn serving our diverse patient populations. So we love you, Lord, and we pray for a good time here as we learn together from Denise. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. So I'm sure you've noticed, I'm actually in my car. I'm between classes. This is a really busy time for me as I go between the different regional centers here at APU in San Diego, San Bernardino, here in Azusa. And so I'm just in between some classes, so I thought I would stick this in and be a part of the online program as well. So for today, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to show you the library catalog and how to search in there. I'm going to give you information on how to contact a librarian. So if I'm not available, somebody else. And then I'm going to show you some search techniques that you might not have heard of before, okay? And then we'll go into the database and I'll show you some more search techniques, including finding full text of articles, getting the APA citation, saving your articles for later, and there's many other things that you'll see today, okay? What I'm going to do now is I'm on the apu.edu page, okay? And to get to the library website, you go to current students and down to libraries.
No, he's like, I'm going to script screen. What are you going to do at script screen? Well, that's where you said the stuff's going to be. No, I didn't.
Hello, students. One of you doesn't have your microphone muted. Whoever's talking about scripts.
Okay. So on the library homepage, a couple of things here I just want to point out. The Get Help button or information this is a phone number for the library, okay? So you can call this number. Also, the chat is a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week service. So feel free to use that. Even on holidays, we have that available. I will also be sending, I'll send a handout out to Jill and your professors so that you have my contact information that's posted on that. Feel free to call me or email me. My extension is 5264, okay, here on campus, and my email address is drgehring, GEHRING @apu.edu. So feel free to contact me either way. I do have my office extension forwarded to my cell phone. So if I'm out of the office, I will pick up calls normally as well. And so, for instance, next week I'm going to be gone, but if you need something, I know that this is an important time, so feel free to contact me next week as well. Okay? And I will get that handout, and really it'll just review what I covered today. For instance, on the first page, I have my contact information, and then some of the resources that I'm going to show you. And then on the second page, there's some research tips, and I'm going to show you those today. And anyway, I'll be sending that out to you. So back to the library website here. Under my library account, this is where you could go to check to see, if you requested an article, maybe you want to see the status of it, you can go here. You can also go to your library account to renew a book if you have it checked out, or if you, that's not good. If you have a book checked out, you can also go to your library account to renew that book. You can also go to your library account to pay any fines if you have any fines. Okay. For our books, we do not charge fines, but for other libraries' books, which I'll show you how to access, we do charge fines. Let me try this again. Okay. I hope this is not a problem. I'm going to try to go through a different way, but that's what your library account looks like. I'm going to go ahead now and click on Books and Media. If you need any, we have them available. Please check. I know that your like physical books, it will be harder, but we will mail them to your house. So maybe you're looking for something on health and education, for instance. You can go ahead and search the catalog here. And you'll see that we have different books available, and a lot of them are available in ebook form. So, for instance, if you wanted to look at this one, I'll click on the title, and then I'll click on View Electronic Book. And okay, well, Jill, I may have to, Jill, are you still on?
Yeah, sorry, I have to unmute.
I'm sorry. It looks like our system is down. Can you just hang on just 1 minute? I'm going to try to email one of our administrators here.
Okay, let me see if it works for me.
Okay.
On my end.
I can.
Yeah, I'm getting the swirl, and then there isn't anything to show here as well.
Yeah. You know, it always happens when I'm in the middle of a class, too.
I've never had this happen to me.
Really? It happened last week to me, too. It's kind of frustrating here.
Yeah, so Denise, how do we solve that? Do we have to reschedule?
We probably will have to reschedule because I can't get into anything. Let me just make a quick phone call. Let me see if I can get a hold of the guy. But last time it took him an hour and a half to fix it. So
Okay.
Oh, no.
we have to reschedule.
Students, thank you for being patient.
Thank you. I'm sorry about this.
So as Denise is working on this, one of the other things that I want to strongly encourage
Hi.
Go ahead, Sharon.
Yeah, is when you work with a librarian, you also want to work alongside the AP Writing Center. So I encourage my students to make weekly appointments. You can make up to 2 appointments and actually go or make your Writing Center appointments online. So you set up an account. If you haven't done this, you choose one of a variety of coaches. I personally like to find a coach that I kind of work with, and I try and sign up with that same coach all the time. And then you actually just submit whatever you're working on, your paper, just that portion. Doesn't have to be the whole paper, doesn't even have to be a quality draft. You just submit it online, and that instructor or the writing coach actually gets in there and makes suggestions with you as they're reviewing your paper. So I personally think the best way to do that is to actually just start your system and find up to 2 times a week, no more than 30 to 45 minutes per time. And then you're going to find how quickly that 30 minutes goes. And you're going to find if you keep working on it week by week, your paper is beautiful and well noted. Here we go, back in here. So Denise has gotten back in.
See if it's working.
Yeah.
If
So
not, another way we could use our time is if any of the comp students want to talk through their healthcare issue and how they're gonna frame it in their paper, we could do that as well. So that would be helpful. It looks like she's still getting that swirl of death.
Yeah. Any students have any questions they would like to ask at this point? Ask them.
Yeah, it can be about your topic for your paper, or
it could be about the Writing Center. It could be about library services. Another resource some of my students have used is Dr. Feli Dela Cruz is full-time faculty at APU. I think she might be moving into a part-time role, but she is an expert in nursing theories. So if you have a nursing theory for any one of your papers, you might want to run it by Feli, Dr. Feli, because she will come up with theories that some of us other faculty have never heard of that would be the best fit for your research question. So there are lots of different resources. What we can't do is know what resources you need. You need to come and reach out to us and let us know how we can help you, because we want to help you.
I see we have a few people that are joining a little late. So Denise is having trouble getting onto the library site, but she's trying to troubleshoot it. And what we might have to do is reschedule.
So for those that are joining late, this occurred last week as well. Doesn't happen too often, but sometimes it does, to where the actual library services are not available. So Denise is our expert librarian and is unable to get in at this time.
The play-by-play.
So I'm sorry, you guys. I have somebody working on it, but he's gonna try something and to see if we can reschedule. I can, depending on what you guys' schedules are, I'm available tomorrow or Friday, or even on the weekend if on Sunday if you want to. It doesn't matter to me.
All right, so we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Even you and I could just go through this and then record it.
Yeah, that's fine too. So,
does anyone have any questions that they want to ask? This is your time.
Feel free to ask me any questions too.
I have a question.
And your name?
My name is Christine Cabin.
Hi, Christine. Go ahead.
Hi.
Yeah, so, since some of us are here, I would maybe like the opportunity to just kind of discuss, how to format our paper, kind of good ways to get started, any just, suggestions for kind of the overall flow of the paper.
Sure. So I actually can share my screen maybe, and
I clicked on stop share. Sorry. Did I do something else here? Okay.
No, I think now we're on my screen here. So I guess the first thing really is for you to land on whether you're going to do a a paper where you submit it for publication, or if you're going to do one that is more more of a QI or evidence-based project, evidence-based practice project. So most students will choose the latter one. So from there, what you really want to start out with is to build up a whole story about your paper. So you're going to start with the background and significance. Why is this important? What is the prevalence? If it's just an issue that you're looking at in the United States, you just want to delve into the statistics in the United States. If you're looking at a global problem, then you would present it as a global issue there. Who is it affecting? What are some of the burdens to the healthcare system, the burden to the patient, the burden to the family? What else would you present there? You could say, how are we currently managing this problem in this healthcare system? So most of you are probably nurse practitioners, so you might want to say, what are the clinical guidelines that I look at as an NP? Where would I go to find out what is currently being done for this problem? If you're in healthcare administration and leadership, you would say, how is our healthcare system managing this issue? And for nurse educators, you would say, look at it through the lens of how are nurses being prepared to overcome this issue. So really from there, based on what you find out about your issue, you're going to think about, well, what's currently being done that I think could be done a little bit better? How can I challenge the status quo and say, I've read that this can be done a little bit differently, but we're not doing that in this practice area where we are. So then your review of the literature could dive into that a little bit more. As a diabetes educator, I always look into, give examples in diabetes, but one of them might be, people aren't compliant with their medications. So what are the barriers and facilitators to taking medications? So your review of the literature could be something like that. And then maybe you would come across that one of the facilitators was that reminder calls, or using mHealth or telehealth would be something that could be, that has been found to keep patients compliant. So really, your story is being built up, and then you're going to take that and say, okay, with compliance, reminder phone calls, that's how am I as a nurse practitioner going to put these phone calls into practice? How am I as a healthcare administrator going to build in reminder phone calls, for example, into a system? And how are we going to, as a nurse educator, teach people about doing this kind of care coordination or something like that? So from you, that's kind of the part where you'll go into your MSN prepared role, and you're kind of say, well, this is what the scope and practice standards are for my role, and this is what I'm going to do to overcome this issue based on my review of the literature, the gaps, some of the solutions. This is what I propose for my intervention. And then you'll say, what theory will back this up? So maybe this would be an example of Pender's health promotion model, would say where people who have more frequent reminders are more compliant with their medications. I'm just kind of winging this one. And so then you'll go through, and your intervention will describe the steps and how you will actually operationalize putting this change of practice into the healthcare setting. And this will be all a proposed intervention. It's not a research project. It's just kind of a proposed intervention. And then your outcomes, you'll say, how will I know that what I am doing is making a difference? And then what are the implications for practice? So if you do this, what difference will it make to my patients? And then implications for research, what more might we need to do to look into this issue? So that was really a long-winded explanation and answer to your question, Christine. So do you have any questions about, kind of what I talked about, or do you want to kind of go through what?
This is Dr. Titus. Let me just interject one thing. Dr. Olausen has created a outstanding grading rubric. So if you look at that grading rubric, you're going to see every piece of her.
But Sharon, I don't think we're not, Christine's in Dr. Cohn's class, so she has the rubric built into her Canvas. So that's another great place to go, is just look at the rubric and go through the step-by-steps. Use each one of the rubric headings as maybe the heading in your paper. So when we're grading it, the first and second reader will go through and go check, 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 just see that you are meeting all of those criteria in the rubric. And Dr. Cohn is here.
Hello. It's the middle of the night for me. What time is it? It's 11:30. So I'm in Norway.
So Pam, Christine is
I will
in
say
your.
one other thing. When you do your initial search, I would really like for students to be open to the idea of writing for publication. It's not as hard as you would think. And one of the things you can do is you look, has there been a recent review of literature on this topic? You see a ton of research and not a recent review of literature for the paper. That's a different process, and it would not follow the same rubric. If you were to discover that actually the most efficient best practice is what is already a standard of practice that is not being used, you might want to write an article, a best practice article. So I'm just saying, keep an open mind and see what's out there in the research literature. And you may decide you want to do the project base, which, as Dr. Lawson has said, is what most people choose. Or you can write for publication. I generally have one student every semester who braves the writing of a paper for publication, and a lot of students have been published. So I just want to encourage you to consider that as you're thinking about what your product is going to be. We'll help you.
Jill, I was able to get it to work now. So now the students won't be able to follow along because I'm going to the back end to access it. So whatever you want to do, if you want to reschedule me, it's up to you.
So you won't be able to share your screen and show them the steps?
I can, yes, I can share my screen and show it, but they won't be able to follow along if they want to follow along on their end.
Oh, I see. No, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
What we can do is record it, what we're doing, and then they can follow along in another.
Okay, that's great.
I just wanted to make sure we had answered Christine's question.
Yes, you answered it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. And then we'll have some more time for question and answer. But I stopped sharing. So Denise, if you want to go ahead and start sharing yours, that'd be great.
I'm going to say, before you go, Denise, I'm going to say good night. I'm glad you're recording it. I'm going to go to bed.
Good.
All right. I'll say good night to you in Norse.
Norway. Any of my students who have questions, you can send me the questions. I'll answer them in the morning. That's about 8 hours away.
Okay.
So, okay.
Good night, Pam.
I will answer your questions, but later. Thank you so much, Denise, and thank you for facilitating it. Bye, Dr. Titus. Bye, all.
So I'll go ahead and go where I left off here. I won't be able, unfortunately, I won't be able to show the library account because I'm going to the back end and not using my account. But on there, you'll see if you can track status of articles that you requested and things like that. And I'll show you how to request articles as well. So where I was at was looking up a book. I did just a quick search for health education. And I just wanted to show you how you can go about reading an ebook, for instance, online. So I clicked on this first one here. And then I clicked on View Electronic Book, and I brought the ebook up here. Okay. From here, then you can either, depending on the ebook, for instance, we only have one copy of this book, so that means only one person can use it at a time. And so if we only have one copy, we actually won't let you download it. However, you can download individual chapters. So you can't download the full thing, but you can download individual chapters. So for instance, maybe you want chapter 13 here, just as an example. You can click on download, and there's 26 pages, download PDF, and so this might be for the reason because of my the access issues I'm having, but it should let me download right away. Yeah, I'm assuming it's because of the access issues, and I have somebody working on it. We should be up and running shortly, hopefully. So that's how you do that. You can also get the APA citation by clicking on Cite. And if you click on Cite, you can go to down to APA and get the APA citation. And I'm assuming you guys are using the APA 6th edition since we're almost finished with the program. And so you just have to double check to make sure these are in fact APA 6th edition. Make sure you double check those the references, okay? And as you can see, some ebooks are cited a little bit differently than print books, and so also check that in your reference, your APA. Okay. If you want to get back to this ebook, since I wasn't able to download it right now, I could go ahead and click on permalink and just copy this, do Control-C or Command-C on a Mac, and then I can get back to that later, fairly easily, okay? I can also add it to my Google Drive if I have it connected. I can email it to myself, etc. Okay? So that is the for ebooks, okay? Now I'm going to go back to the search results here, because you can actually request books, physical books. We will send them to your house free of charge, okay? We include a prepaid envelope for you to send it back to us, okay? So say you wanted this one, you would click on request. Now it probably isn't going to look like it should. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. So then I'll go down to by mail outside of 15-mile radius. And I know that there might be some people that live in close to Azusa. If you live close to Azusa, we won't mail it to you. You'll actually have to come to the library to get it. So you would do Darling Library. But if you do live outside that 15-mile radius, feel free. We will mail it to you. You can, we'll include a prepaid envelope. You just put it back in the envelope and put it back in the mail to return it to us. For those that live around here, you can, for returning, you don't actually have to come up to the library. There's a book drop right below the stairs, so you can feel free to just put it in that book drop, okay? I would not recommend putting in a cancel date. Sometimes if you don't get it, then, or if it's unavailable, then you'll get a notice that it's unavailable, okay? So I'm just going to hit the back button here. And the other option that we have for to get books is through Link Plus. Link Plus is a group of libraries in California and Nevada, okay? And maybe you live in the Las Vegas area and you wanted to use request a book, you can actually go ahead and request from there as well. Here, I'll show you what it looks like, okay? So for instance, I'm gonna go to this one right here and click on request. If it's available, oh no, copies available, okay. I have to find one that there's actually copies available. Oops. Cleared it for a minute. I'll just retype it here. This one right here. Oh, this is the one that we had. Oh no, this is a Loma Linda. So this one actually, there's not any available either. And I'm gonna go ahead and find a different one. Now the ones that say online resource, unless we own it, unfortunately we can't, you won't be able to access it. Let me see. Let's see, this one right here. One library has this one, and it is available, so it's available from Loma Linda. Okay, so if you want this one, you click on request this item. And then there's option here. You could have it sent to any of these libraries. So actually, it looks like University of Nevada, Las Vegas is not on the list anymore, but University of Nevada, Reno is. University of San Francisco, so even if you live up in the Bay Area, Santa Clara University is up there. So we do have libraries that we work with that are part of this program where we can send the book to these libraries. You can go in and use these libraries. So even at like Alliance International, they have several campuses. Maybe you're in the San Diego area, you can go and have it sent and go and use their campus as well, okay? If a book that we don't own, like this one from Loma Linda, if you request it, be sure that you put it in the mail 10 days before it's due. Otherwise, it might be late because the reason why is we have slower shipping on the way back to us compared to on the way to you. So if we don't own the book, it'll take 2 to 4 days to get to your house, and then 2 to 4 days to get to get to Azusa, and then 2 to 4 days to get to your house. Okay. So as far as return them 10 days before they're due, and you can always call the library to make sure, let us know that they're coming. And I showed you that number earlier on the library homepage, okay? And you can also, for returning, if you know it's going to be late, just let us know. It is $1 a day for fines for other books. For our books, we don't charge fines, but other books, it is $1 a day. Okay. I'm going to go back to the library home here, and I've been told that it might be working now. So I'm going to try it. The system might be, oops. Okay, I messed something up here, but let's see. Okay, there we go. Let me try to see if it's working here. Okay, sure. Okay, so now going back to the library home, I'm going to go ahead and go into the databases now. Okay, just a couple of things before I do that. I want to show you about journal titles. Keywords. This is like, for instance, if you know of a name on journal, like for instance, American Journal of Nursing, you can see if we have it. One nice feature we have this article finder feature. Okay, and this will actually look to see if we have an article. So there's a couple options. You can put in the full citation there. or you can go down and you can just plug in the DOI if you have it, or the PubMed ID. Sometimes in the citation, like on a reference list, you'll see that the PubMed ID is listed. Go ahead, if you want to look that up, go ahead and plug it in there. DOI is becoming more and more common, and so you'll see that attached to articles, and you can plug that in here. What it will do is it'll search the library system, and then if we have it, it'll you can pull it up. If not, then you can request it from another school, which I'll demo this within the database setting, because that is where you'll get to use it more, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just hit the back button here. So I'm going to go ahead now and click on articles and databases, and I'll change this to medicine, nursing, and physical therapy. And then I have a list of databases here. They are different types of databases, like CINAHL and Medline are both from the EBSCO platform, okay? The provider is EBSCOhost, okay? So these are the first two that I would recommend. The handout that I'm going to be sent, that you'll be getting in your, we'll have on there, I'll have on top of page 3, I'll have a list of recommended databases. So go ahead and take a look at that, okay? And so I'm going to be demoing CINAHL and Medline today. Depending on what your topic is, you might also want to look in PsycInfo, which is if your topic is more mental health focused, you might consider PsycInfo as well. Okay. Other databases that I would suggest is a set of databases from the ProQuest platform. The first one, we have it listed as Family Health Database, but it is, they changed the name. It's Consumer Health. And so I'll go ahead and click on that. And you can actually search these databases together. So once you get into the ProQuest platform, you'll click on Change Database. And then you'll go through and you'll select only the ones that are related to nursing and health, okay, instead of everything else, because there's a lot more. If you go and you select all of them, you're going to get a lot of irrelevant articles, okay? So I selected that one. I'll go ahead and select health and medical collection, healthcare management, nursing and allied health, public health. And then again, if you are also doing a mental health topic, you might want to also include the psychology database, okay? And then you'll just go down to the bottom and click on Use Selected Database. And then you would put in your search terms here. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to the library home. We'll talk about your search terms in just a minute. There's other databases in this list, like JAMA Site License that we have, Ovid, Sage, Science Direct, Wiley, Springer, Taylor, and Francis. Those types of databases are publisher-specific databases. I would not recommend searching in those individually, okay? Because what will happen is when you search in CINAHL or Medline or the ProQuest databases, they'll actually take you out to, if the article is available from Science Direct, or if the article is available from Sage or from Wiley, it will take you to the full text if we have a subscription for it, okay? If not, you can go ahead and request it from another school, okay? And which I'll demo that in just a little bit. So before we do that, I know as far as timing, and I know that several of you probably need to go, but we are recording this. Jill, can I ask you if what I wanted to do was to have them look at their research topics now,
Mhm.
and come up with keywords. Is that okay to do that as a group?
Sure.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So what I'm going to do is open up. Okay, and I think I have to share a different, can you see the Microsoft whiteboard, or is it still my, oh yeah, I have to share a different screen here. Okay, here's a whiteboard. Okay, so I tried this earlier in a class that I did earlier, and it worked out okay. Does somebody want to volunteer their topic for us today?
You get a free
Sure.
search out of it.
Yeah, you're gonna get. I'll send you. What we get today. So if you want to volunteer, go ahead and speak up right now.
I can do it.
Okay, Erin, what is your topic?
I'm doing the effects of educating parents regarding like the overuse of antibiotics in pediatric kids.
Okay.
Or pediatric.
Do you have a question yet? A research question or focus?
So my question was this is off of memory because I'm at work, so I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
But in pediatric patients presenting with URIs, something like, what are the effects of parental education on minimizing the harms caused by overuse of antibiotics? Something like that.
So say that again. In pediatric patients
presenting with URIs.
Okay.
What are the effects of parental education on minimizing the harms? Of the overuse of antibiotics.
Okay, so looking at your question here, the first step is then to come up with our keywords. So what are the most important words in this question?
I think maybe antibiotics, pediatric, URIs.
URIs. Parental education, right?
Parental education. So that was, I wanted to ask, when we're searching, and I know you're about to do it, when we're searching for those articles, like, I don't know if I'll find articles specifically tailored to this question because I made it myself and like with my own intervention.
Yeah.
So what exactly would you search under? I know you're about to do it, but that's my question.
Well, what we can do is we can try it, okay, and see what happens. And one of the things that you might do is just expand it. Maybe leave parental education and see what is out there, and then you can add maybe other terms, that type of thing. So we'll try it. We'll see what happens. Okay.
Okay.
I'm glad you volunteered.
Me too.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clear this because I need more space to write on. But pediatric. So what our next step is then to come up with other terms for, say, URIs, parental education, antibiotics, because coming up with other terms will help us expand our search. We'll be able to maybe find more articles, okay? So
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and clear this a minute. Okay, so what are some other words for, let's do education, okay?
Okay.
What are some other words? What do you think?
Lesson teaching, knowledge,
Maybe a program. What else?
course,
And then how about URI? What does that stand for?
upper respiratory infection.
Okay.
So like cold, virus.
So
Illness.
okay, we can
Viral
maybe viral illness. Okay, so and then the other one was antibiotics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are some other words for antibiotics?
I've seen some articles listed as antimicrobial.
Okay. Anything else?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Okay. So I didn't do pediatric because what's nice in CINAHL and Medline, as well as the ProQuest databases, you can actually do the select the age group. So you don't even need to add an age group in your as a search. Okay.
Okay, great.
Go ahead and just select the age group. So we'll leave that blank. But the other way that you can narrow it in for other people, not necessarily your question, is you can by male and female. That's another. If your topic is on just females, you don't need to come up with other terms for female. You can just select female. Okay.
Okay.
So quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just save this so that I remember what I'm doing.
This is cool seeing this whiteboard, Denise. I haven't used that.
Yeah, well, this is a new computer for me, so this is the first time. So
Cool.
what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and just clear the screen, and I'm using my finger because I had a stylus pen, but it didn't work. So so I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen now. And what I would like you to do is other people that are participating today, go ahead and write your question down, circle those keywords, and then come up with some other terms that you can use. Okay. So I'm going to just give you like a couple minutes to do that. Okay. And
You can also write them in the chat box if you want, and Sharon and I can look at them.
oh yeah, that too.
And Erin, I think we might be getting a little feedback. If you wouldn't mind just trying to mute. I just hear a little bit of feedback there. I don't know if it's coming from you. Thank you. Denise, are you in the library website now?
I am. Yeah, I'm gonna. I'm plugging in the search terms, and then I'll share. I was just gonna give them a couple minutes
Okay.
or a minute
Great.
to come up with their search terms.
I
So
wanted to ask you, have you heard of the ERIC database for when people are looking for educational interventions? Would that be a good one for them to use?
you could try that. Eric is. I don't know how much it's being updated.
Okay.
It's been a while since I used it. You could certainly try and look in it.
Okay.
There are some, even in Cinel and Medline, there's, you might find others, other types of interventions, not just nursing specific, Also, like I mentioned, PsycInfo is another good one.
Right.
There's a database called Education Database, which is ProQuest as well, and that's another good one to use too.
If the database has EBSCO host in parentheses, if you search EBSCO host, will it include that database?
Yeah, and I'll show you how you can do multiple databases at one time.
All right, thanks.
Today, so I'm gonna plug this in. What was the... Can't remember what the... Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead now and share my database screen here. I think that's one. So you'll see my database screen here, and I did URI and parent and educate, and then antibiotics. That was the other one. Maybe anti. So there. What's nice here is you can see they give you other suggestions that you could use. Okay, and so you might have to check the spelling, things like that. But go ahead and use those suggestions. Okay. As we look on the screen here, you'll see that I have some quotes here. I have some asterisks. What do you guys think the asterisk means? Anybody have any thoughts?
Any form of the word up to that point. So it could be education, educating, and so on.
Yep, it adds the endings to the words. So you'll see it might add, like parent might be parental, okay? Infect might be infection or infected or infecting, okay? And this is just a nice way to broaden your search, okay? Now, a way to narrow your search is to use the quotes. Okay, so for instance, we put to narrow our search upper respiratory infection. We want all of those words somewhere together within the article. So we would put in upper respiratory infection in the quotes so that they're together somewhere in the article. If we don't put the quotes around it, they might be, upper might be in the top, respiratory in the middle, infect at the bottom, okay? And so this, you're doing a keyword search here. So a keyword search means it could be anywhere in the article. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on search now. And you'll see that there are 7 articles, okay? Oh, I forgot knowledge, so that's another one that you might want to put on here that I forgot to add. And as you can see here, as you're doing your searching, you might come up with, like for instance, I didn't see knowledge right. I didn't add that in. But when I saw the first article, oh, there's knowledge, okay? And so I can go ahead and just change my search terms and add that in as I find things. And this will actually help you maybe expand your search results so that you can find more articles, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and narrow my results here. And I'll do that by clicking on Show More. And then you're going to have to do your date range that you need. So I'll go ahead and do 2014 to 2020, okay? And then I'll click on Search. And then it will narrow our results then. Now we're down to 1, unfortunately, okay? So this is where you'll have to probably see where you want to go with this. You might have to consider, you may consider changing your topic or seeing what's out there. Maybe look at other education in other areas. You might consider just searching upper respiratory with education, and then parent with antibiotics, and then upper respiratory with antibiotics, and see what you get for your articles as well. That's one way to help you just see what's out there, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just remove this, okay? And then we can see if we can get a few more articles here. So now we have 6. And so now this doesn't necessarily have to do with antibiotics, but it does talk about education. And you'll see there's some from other countries, but there might be some tidbits that you can pull from there as well, okay? And then going back, what I'll do is I'll just click on the search history, and all of our search terms will be listed here. So if I want to put this, the antibiotic back in, I can. And maybe I want to take this off and then see what's on upper respiratory and antibiotics. And then, oops, what did I do here? And then I can do the last one where I look up education and antibiotics. So.
And I just want to say while you're on this screen, so when you're doing, writing your paper up and you're in your review of the literature, you want to tell the reader how you found your article. So you can actually just cut where Denise, whatever your final search is, go to that search, like say it was S7 there, and you can copy that and put that into your paper.
Yep.
Say, these are the keywords that I used. And here's the inclusion criteria.
So there are 6 then with upper respiratory and parent education. Okay, so as I'm doing this, I can always just see as I can see on the search history, we started with 802 with just upper respiratory and URI, but then we went down, we actually hit 0, okay? But as I made a few changes, I added a few words, and then we kind of expanded it. Then where we changed the way we were searching, we did two of the main concepts instead of 3, and we were able to get a few more articles that you can check to see if they'll work for you. Okay, and now to save the search history, what I'll do is I'll click on print search history, and you don't actually have to print it, but if you do on a Mac, you'll do Command P, on a PC, Control P, and then just save it as a PDF. You see Save as PDF there? I'm on Google Chrome, but usually on Macs, down at the bottom on the left side here, there'll be a where it says PDF, and you can save it as a PDF that way. So I'll go ahead and click Save, and then I'll save my search history here. And then what it's nice is it has the database that you're searching in, as well as the number of results that you get. So talking about the different databases that you're searching in, close the search history. And you can actually search in multiple databases at once, or you can say, maybe you want to, I better add that last term line in here, and then I'll go to that. Okay. Okay, so I can go ahead, maybe I want to search in Choose Database. I can go through and I can actually search in Medline at the same time. Okay, so I can select Medline here. If I have a mental health topic, I might also add PsycInfo, and you can also add these other psychology databases. If you're looking more at an education intervention, you might look at ERIC, okay? And also maybe there might be some in the Teacher Reference Center, okay? As well as Academic Search Premier, okay? So I'm going to just do sit on Medline for now and see if I get any more in Medline. Okay, so we have 23. I'm going to go ahead and click on Show More, and I need to do the date range again. And so now we have 6, okay? And then you'll want to see if these will work for your, like this is a randomized control trial. It is in China. You might be able to pull some things from there. To see, I would suggest looking at not just the titles before you throw an article out, but actually read the abstract, okay? So I'll go ahead and click on this article here. And then I can look at the abstract here, okay? Sometimes there will be some suggested keywords, or you'll see subject headings or something like major headings, something like that. You might want to consider adding those types of words as well, okay? While you're going through your abstract, there might be something else that you didn't think of to expand your results. So maybe you want to consider adding additional terms to help you find more articles, okay? Now I'm going to, while I'm in here, I just want to show you can get the APA citation by clicking on Cite and then down to APA, and then you just copy and paste it into your bibliography, okay? But you notice here, what do you guys notice about this article title?
It's not APA format.
It's all capitalized. Yeah. The title is all capitalized.
Yep. So that means you need to probably go through and lowercase those capital letters that need to be lowercase, okay? So make sure you double check those types of things, okay? And I don't know what this long number is at the end, so you might have to check those page numbers as well. That doesn't seem right. So just double check those types of things, okay? It does have the DOI listed. And then the other thing that you probably want to keep is the permalink. So this is the link to this article. Okay, you know, the link up in the address bar here, if you save that and try to go back to it later, it won't work. But this permalink, it will work, okay? So make sure you do use get the permalink. I've had students where they sent me this link up in the address bar and told me that they couldn't get to the article. And I said, well, I can't get to it either, unfortunately. Okay. If there's full text available within this database, you can also add it to your Google Drive, okay, by clicking on Google Drive. I'm going to go back to the results list. Just a few other tips to show you how to keep track of articles. You can go ahead and click on the folder here to add to your folder, and then you can get back to those articles later as well. So as you're reading through them, you say, okay, I want to keep this one for later. Reading through your abstracts, I want to keep this one later too. So to get the full text so that I have a list of everything, you can go ahead and add to your folder there, okay? Also, maybe I want to get back to these results later. I'll click on share and I'll get this persistent link and I'll copy it, and then I can paste it in my so that I can get back to it later. Again, this link at the top will not work later, okay? Now for the full text, okay? You'll see most of these, you see full text finder and not PDF. Let's see, there's none in PDF, so it all says full text finder. That's okay, we'll go ahead and click on full text finder. And then it'll tell you if we have it available. So for instance, this one right here, oops, I guess I clicked on it too soon. This one right here is available from Sage. I went ahead and I clicked on Sage, and it's opening up here. Oops. And then I can click on download PDF. And then here's my article. So even though it wasn't available in full text on that database, you could still get it. You can still get the full text of it because we have purchased it through Sage. Okay. I'll go ahead and go back to my results list here. Okay. And then same with, maybe you want this one right here, full text finder. This one, it looks like, is available through ProQuest. Sometimes when you click on citation, it doesn't always work. So I would just click on ProQuest Central by title, and it should come up. this way, yep. And then I can just click on download PDF, okay? I'm going to go back to the results list. I'll click on this one. Maybe I wanted this one. Again, same thing. ProQuest Central. So if you don't see full text AP license resource or a open access resource, you'll see this request a free copy. So what you'll do is you'll just click on request a free copy, and we will, it'll take about 2 to 3 business days on average, but a lot of times it's faster than that. And what you do is you click on submit, and then the article will be emailed to you. For instance, yesterday, late afternoon, early evening, I requested an article. This morning already, I had it in my inbox. So sometimes it's faster than the 2 to 3 day on average, but sometimes it might take longer depending if we can get it. We work with this group of libraries right here. And so if we can get it from one of these libraries, then we will, it'll be really fast turnaround time. But if we can't get it from one of these, it'll be a little bit slower, okay? I'm just gonna go ahead and cancel this because I don't need that. Okay, so that is how to get the full text. And while I'm here, I just wanted to show you, don't click on this limit to full text here. Because if you do that, you won't know if we have it available from another library database, okay? And so, again, you just want to make sure you can get as much as possible. And, you know, as I mentioned before, when I was describing the different databases we have available, those publisher databases like Wiley, Science Direct, Ovid, Sage are all, you can't actually get the full text within EBSCO or ProQuest. You actually have to go to their database to get that full text. Okay. Are there any questions so far? I'm going to try to pull up the chat here.
I think we're pretty good on top of the chat. Did anyone have a chat that we didn't answer? I think they were asking about how many years to go back, and I kind of said, you know, ask your professor, but sometimes it'll depend on what your question is. I think that's it. Anybody have a question?
Okay. So I'm just going to click on new search here to clear it. And then I'll go ahead and click on choose database. And I want to just look in CINAHL. Unfortunately, this is only available in CINAHL. So I'm just going to look in CINAHL for this.
Uh-oh. I think it's frozen. Oh no, my internet's dead. Oh crap, I really need to get a better internet.
Browse.
There it is. I think it went over to yours.
And I'll click on theory. And I'll see the different types of theories here. You know, you can look through some of these if you want. There's some ethics theories. There's some sociological theories. So maybe you want to look at Bandura's social cognitive theory. There's some psychology theories. And then physiology theories. And then there's the nursing theories. And so we have all of the nursing theories listed here. So, well, not everything. You're not going to find everything unfortunately. But maybe you want to look at Pender's health promotion model. So you would just select this checkbox to the left of Pender health promotion model. Go back up to the top, and under the you click search database. And you'll notice that there's 484 articles on Pender's health promotion model. So you'll notice the first one here is actually in Korean, okay? So you'll probably want to go ahead and first off, go back in to show more, and then select the date range that you want, so 2014 to 2020. And so now we're down to 72. And then I'll click on show more again. And now I want to limit to just English articles, so I'll go ahead and do that. And so now I'm down to 61. I'll go back into show more. And maybe I just want to look at the research articles, so I'll select research articles. Again, as I mentioned before, you can limit your results to an age group, depending on what you're looking for, female, male, and that type of thing there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and click on search here.
Just have a quick question. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
Can you show one more time just how to search the theories?
Yep.
Okay.
So you click on CINAHL subject headings.
Okay.
You type in theory. And then you click on the word theory.
Great.
And then you'll go down and there's different theories listed. I went into nursing here, but depending on what theories you're looking at. This time I'll select a different one. Maybe I'll select Forum self-care model, okay? Or whichever one that you want. You know, you could select any one of them.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Roy adaptation model, for instance, you select to the left and then go back up to the top and click on search database. And so there's 880 for this one. So again, what I'll do is I'll click on show more, and I'll go ahead and do my date range. Since there's so many, I might just do English language right away. So there's 89, and then I can go back to show more. And maybe I just want to limit to research articles, so I can do that. Anyway, as you can see, I try to do one limiter at a time, or maybe two at the most, because if I do too many, I get to the point where I have 0 results and I don't know why I have 0 results. And so if you do one at a time, you can always remove it if you get to that point of 0 results. This one right here, now we're down to 46, and I also always recommend try to get to under 100, because as you're going through articles, you know, you don't want to go through more. You know, limiting your results is best if you can do it on the database versus trying to do it by going through each individual article, especially if you have a whole bunch in the search. Okay.
I just had one other question regarding applying a theory model to our topic. Are we required to just have one model that supports our topic?
I think that, Jill, can you answer that?
No, it might be easier just to have one, but I always give the example for our HAL students, Healthcare Administration Leadership. You know, they might want to do a change project in the area of diabetes education. So they might use like a change theory plus the chronic care model. So they might have one theory to describe what's happening with the individual patient and one system theory about, you know, change in, how do you make change in a healthcare setting. So you can have two, but it's probably better to find one encompassing theory. It'd probably be easier for you.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And so I'm just going to go ahead and click on the title of this one real quick, so you can see the and the subject headings are different than, say, like a keyword search, because the keyword could be anywhere in the article, whereas the subject headings are, you know, it's based on the topic of the paper. Okay. So if you can get it where the subject is the major subject, that's probably the best. Okay. And so maybe you have more results than, maybe you have more than 100 here and you want to get it down even further. You could actually change this MH in the search bar here to an M, and this will just look up articles that have the Roy adaptation model in the major subject field. And so now we're down to 11. Okay. Any other questions?
Hi, Denise. I had a question. This is Cassandra. You mentioned earlier about using the ERIC database for education topics, in addition to ProQuest, Academic Search Premier. Is there anything else that I should search? Any other databases you'd recommend?
So, let's see. Let me go to education here. And so under the education on the library databases page, if you change that to education, physical education, Erica's on their academic search premier. Education database is the one ProQuest. Maybe the Teachers Reference Center, but I haven't used this one that much, so I'm not very familiar with it, but you could also check there. Also, PsycInfo might have some education-related topics as well, so I would also look at PsycInfo. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay,
Other questions?
I think we're about out of time here.
Okay.
How's everybody doing? No questions?
No, but I've been chatting with some of the students in the chat box, so this has been good dialogue. But I hope that you all of you students feel like you can reach out to us faculty and resources like Denise and our theory experts to help shape your paper before you get too far along into your paper and then think, gosh, this is not a good fit, or I'm a little bit less than focused. So Ask lots of questions, seek lots of help. We're here to help you and support you and guide you all the way.
Yes, feel free to contact me anytime.
And you know, your paper is going to be changing as you go, as you read new articles. You know, you might find out new gaps and then go down different directions. But, you know, you can get going down a lot of rabbit holes when you're reading all these articles. So it really does help when you start your review of the literature to write out kind of your question, so that when you look at an article, you say, okay, here's my question, and you can put it like in a PICO format where you have your intervention and an outcome and population. You can look at your article, go back to your question, say, does this article answer the question? And if part of the article answers the question, just pick that part out and try to ignore the rest of the article, because you at some point you just have to land on a topic and say, this is what I'm doing. Otherwise you'll get to, you know, week 8 and still be like, oh, I'm still changing my paper. So you know, early on, determine, you know, what your topic's going to be, what your review of the literature is going to be. That's a little advice from me. Okay.
So I'm done, Jill.
Thanks.
So thank you, guys.
Denise. Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for attending. I'm going to end the meeting and then I will put the recording onto YouTube for other people to watch. Good night, everyone.
Good night.